Hey, what's up? It's Kid. Time for another video. Now, hopefully this video shows up well because guess what? We're not going to be editing it. So, whatever mistakes you see me do, I'm not going to be editing them out. All right. And this is also the first time that I'm filming with my daughter in the room. So she's kind of looking at me funny, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be spitballing this whole thing. Um, First and foremost, before we proceed, I'd like to say that these pieces of gear that I'm gonna show you, some, if not one, or well, actually, there's two items here that are not for sale anymore. It's just that it has been quite a long time since I upgraded the gear for this because um, once you actually find a good rod and reel, you kind of don't upgrade. For this at least. Um, at least if you actually find the right ones. Now, for me, early on, I actually found a rod that up until this day, a rod and reel actually that up until this day, I still keep on using because they're just that good. Now, unfortunately, the brand has decided to discontinue it, and I haven't since found a replacement. However, there's one that came pretty close. So those are the two examples that I'm going to show for this introduction at least. Now, as far as the reels are concerned, after a while, I actually upgraded to the best that I could get hold of because I started to actually get into bigger fish, and I needed something that's quite reliable. So I wasn't able to find that reel for now, but we'll talk about it down the line. All right. So, um, ultralight fishing. All right. The good thing about ultralight fishing is that you're able to present really tiny lures with stealth. Okay. Now, as far as the lures are concerned, it's like varied. Now, unlike U.S. style ultralight fishing, which is basically done ice fishing and also for panfish. Um, the guys over at Japan has actually made an art form out of this, and guess what? They are very specific according to species, and there's a whole industry built around these species. Like take for example, Aji and Mebaru. You will find that there are a lot of lures, rods, reels, even line dedicated to them, especially. And that is a type of ultralight fishing. And even outside of Japan, people that are not exclusively targeting Aji or horse eye scad or big eye scad. So guess what? They're still calling it Ajing, even if it's not. It's actually a segment of fishing called ultralight fishing. Now there are brands like Abu Garcia Japan that call it something like super light fishing. Okay, so that's still the same thing. All right, so um, just take note that when I talk about Ajing or Mebaru or Ajing is like big eye scad, horse eye scad, whatever you call it locally. So when I talk about those fish, or if I talk about something like sand whiting, this is it. However, for me, especially here in the Middle East, I target brim, okay, and I target queenfish, several species of trevally, um, grunter. And the terrain could be as varied as fishing off the beach, fishing off of jetties, rocks, or in and around that type of area, mangrove areas, and even kayak. Okay, so when I'm on the kayak, there's specific techniques that I use that employ ultralight gear. Okay, and we're gonna be breaking everything down in this series. So like I mentioned, this is just the introduction. We're gonna be talking about my specific use for the reels, especially, and obviously it comes with the rods and the lures as well. All right, so we're gonna be talking about that. Now, the rods. Okay, so when I'm shore fishing, majority of the time I want something long. when I am fishing from shore. And here's two examples. Okay, so this is the Dialuna XR, I believe, and it is 8'6". Okay, so this is the model number is S806L-S, 0.3 to 1. Okay, and that's very important detail there. The lure weight is 2 to 15. All right, so 8'6", very long, light rod. And you know, in my effort to replace or get a rod that would be able to actually act as a backup for this particular rod right here. And this is my Violente. This is Varivas. Okay, Violente light game. As you can see, it's 0.8 to 8 grams. Line is 2 to 8 pound, or 0.3 to 0.6. This is the lightest rod I could find that's this long. Okay, so we're going to be talking about those in a bit. Now, the size of the reels that I use here varies. You can use a size, I use a lot of size 1000 or 2000 sized reels. So the most used reel that I have is actually a composite reel, and this is kind of cheap. And this is one of those things that is very attractive with this type of fishing. Okay, so for urban environments where there's a lot of fishing pressure, this produces. Okay, fishing off of beaches that are frequented by people, and you wouldn't know that there's actually some decent fish to catch there. Guess what? This can catch them. Okay, so highly pressured areas, this could catch fish. It sounds kind of too good to be true, but it's very flexible, and also it doesn't break the bank. Okay, you can go as specialized as you want. So like, take for example, my Violente is usually fished with a Stella 1000. Okay, so you can go bonkers, something like that. And guess what? There are rods that are better than that. It's just that for me, I found that earlier on, and I love it until this day. I use it. Okay, there are short rods that you could use. Of course, I use a lot of shorter rods as well if I don't need the distance. There are several videos where I had guests and friends fishing with me, or friends, not guests, but friends fishing with me in the Palm. So I had my cousin. I had at one point Masa, the president of Studio Ocean Mark, also fishing with me, and I gave them this reel to use with a shorter rod, and we were fishing for rubber lips or silver biddies, and well, pretty much anything and everything that really bites. And these are very decent fish. Okay, so about a kilo or something on very, very light line. The lines that we use also very specialized. Okay, the reels, it could be high speed or low speed depending on the situation. There are lures that you could use as well, and again, I'm going to be showing you all of these at a later time. We're going to break things down so that it's easy to digest. Now, the most important thing here is that if you are actually very interested in this type of fishing, you have to be very careful of your choices, because it could make or break your fishing. However, what I can say is that the gear are largely not that expensive. Okay, you can, again, as I mentioned, you can go with very specialized equipment, and there's nothing wrong with that. If, let's say, this is a fishing that you actually can do a lot of, because guess what, even if you spend, and it's recommended you actually spend on good gear for the type of fishing that you could do a lot of, and spend less on fishing that you don't really do a lot of. Because you know, if you're able to, let's say, if you're able to fish every other day, or not even, it's say let's say 3 times a week in this type of fishing, and all you have to spend is literally the time to go to a spot and do some fishing, this would be the most worthwhile investment that you could do. Okay, like, take for example, if you do this more than you do offshore jigging, guess what? Instead of buying, well, obviously you're free to do whatever you want, but um, let's say you have a budget, and this is the type of fishing that you could do because it's 5 minutes away from home. Whereas with jigging, you have to be on a boat, you have to travel and all of this. So it kind of makes sense to not spend on a Studio Ocean Mark reel, right? Go with something standard, like take, for example, an OSHA jigger. And guess what? Whatever money that you're going to be using towards Studio Ocean Mark or whatever reel it might be that's higher than the standard, let's say, you could actually buy a decent reel and rod, or more than decent, to actually do this type of fishing. Because guess what? It's just sound investment. All right. So again, let me just say that you're free to buy whatever you want. But if this is the type of fishing that you could do on an almost consistent basis, then it's a worthwhile investment. A better rod will get you a better feel, better reach, especially since, like, take for example a Yamaga. Okay, you invest on a Yamaga, it's a very good rod, and there's I think the Blue Current or something like that. Kelvin would know because he uses a lot of those, but uh, there's specialized rods from Yamaga for this type of fishing that would just give you a very different feel from, say, like a major craft. Okay, and I use a lot of major craft and do really well. And those are some of the rods that I'm going to be showing you down the line. But see, here's the thing. Whatever you invest on, okay, when it comes to these things, it's not going to be much. And that's what I love about this segment. So I could be perfectly happy with a Stradic. And this is one of those reels that I purposely bought for this sort of fishing because, um, it's a steel-bodied reel, and I know that it could take punishment. So here's the thing. This small reel has actually caught some pretty decent fish. And if it wasn't for this reel, I don't know if I could have survived, the run, because the big fish are kind of nasty when it comes to catching them on very light gear. And even if you're dealing with thinner line on this, trust me, there's pressure. Okay, and a good reliable reel such as a Stradic, and it starts here, really works well. So I have a regular version Stradic, and I have a CR4 Stradic, which after a while they turned into the Vamford. Sorry for touching that. This is why I normally don't show this, because when I touch the reels and all that, I might just hit it. Another reel is the Soiree. This is a cheap reel. Okay, this is a composite reel, and although it's composite, actually for the size, it's pretty good. And this is a PG. So I discussed about the speeds of the reels and all that, and there's a reason why I chose this. And even my Stella is actually a power gear. All right, another reel I use for this segment is the old Caldia. This is a 2004. Oops. This is a shallow spool version of this reel, and yeah, I mean, old school, still very smooth, very very good. And the thing I like about this is the mag seal, and it's spooled with, again, you can see there, it's very thin line, and that's, I think, one of the things that, and it's braid. I think one of the things that's very different when it comes to ultralight fishing is that these reels and rods are literally scaled down versions of the bigger stuff that you find, like shore jigging rods and all that. Okay. Whereas in the States, you're kind of using mono. Okay, it's very difficult to find really thin braid in the States, and even if it's labeled 2 pounds or 1 pound braid, it's nothing compared to the Japanese braid. This is one of those things that you have to go ultra specialized, and I think would be kind of difficult to get for a few of the guys in the States, if not all of them, unless you actually tap into Amazon Japan. Anyway, we're gonna be talking more about these things. We're gonna break things down, and then I'm gonna break things down into like what I use for which. Okay, I'm gonna be showing you like full systems, rods, reels, line, and lures. And mind you, we could interchange because there's quite a few rods and there's quite a few reels that I could show you, especially if I dig up some of the reels that I use for specifically for the segment, and I even have bait casting versions for these as well, which I may or may not show down the line because I mean I don't know if it's actually relevant, okay, for a lot of people, but there is a growing audience for BFS, and that's the bait casting version of this. So that's it for this video. I mean, a very short and sweet introduction, I guess. If there's questions, drop them in the comment section. I have been having a hard time keeping up with you guys because there's a lot more of us now. uh, that's A, and B, a lot of comments to go through, and there's a lot of things happening offline as well. So eventually I'll catch up, but I do read all of them, so just keep the comments coming. Obviously, uh, give this video a thumbs up if you find it interesting, or if you learned something, or if you want to get into this sort of fishing. So a thumbs up is very important for each and every single video, or a thumbs down, whatever, just as long as you actually click on that. If you haven't yet and you want to learn more about this sort of fishing, go on and click that subscribe button. Obviously, if you want to help this channel move forward, a direct approach would be to get into the memberships program. And I think one of the things that I am going to be offering in the, well, actually, I'm going to be talking to the members about that pretty soon. So I'm going to make like a separate video on that. But that's it for this one. And I'd like to take this opportunity, of course, to thank the members, both new and old ones. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And that is it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.